The space around the Shalkari peace station was quiet. Too quiet. It floated like a black flower in the dark, surrounded by glowing lights and blinking beacons. From a distance, it looked like a place of welcome. But Captain Rina Vale didn't trust beauty in space, especially not from the Shalkari. The human ship Vanguard Hope arrived first. It carried diplomats, officers, and peace documents. The crew smiled. They thought they were making history, bringing peace between Earth and the Shalkari Empire after years of cold tension. The Shalkari greeted them with perfect manners. Their leader, Archlord Virak, stood tall and calm, dressed in robes that shimmered with light. He spoke slowly, carefully, every word like honey. "We welcome the humans as brothers. Let us begin again. No more war." Everyone clapped. Everyone but Rina. Far away, her ship, the Grinning Skull, watched the station from the shadows. It was not a clean or proud ship like the Vanguard. It was fast, old, and dangerous. It had fought too many battles. And Rina, its captain, had seen too many lies. She had been ordered to stay out of the peace talks. Her ship was not official, but Earth Command still asked her to keep an eye on things. So she watched and waited. Inside the peace station, things looked perfect. Too perfect. The air smelled sweet, the lights never flickered, and the food was always warm. Human diplomats were treated like kings, but Rina's old friend, Lieutenant Brencor, sent her a hidden message late at night. His voice shook. "Rina, something's wrong. We're not allowed to leave the station. They say it's for safety. But we're being followed, even in our rooms. I saw one of their guards with human tech. Military grade." Rina listened in silence. Then she closed her eyes and whispered, "I knew it." She called her crew together. Tough people, all of them. Soldiers, smugglers, engineers, loyal to her, not to the clean world of politics. She told them they were going in, quietly, as traitors. They entered the station on a small cargo shuttle, carrying crates of human goods, coffee, cloth, machine parts. The Shalkari barely looked at them. Just another group of merchants. But the Grinning Skull crew had hidden scanners, tools, and weapons inside those crates. They moved through the station slowly, watching, listening, recording. What they saw made Rina's blood run cold. Every hallway had hidden cameras pointed only at human areas. The aliens smiled in public, but their soldiers practiced drills behind locked doors. Combat drills with holograms shaped like human troops. Worse, the peace station had large hidden hangars, full of drones and weapons. The final piece came from the ship's hacker, Nils. He cracked into a side system and found a line of data buried deep. A coded file with one chilling phrase: Operation Hollow Sun. Activation time pending. Rina didn't need to guess. She had seen this before. It wasn't peace. It was bait. A setup. The humans were being gathered in one place. Disarmed. Isolated. Surrounded. It was a death trap. She sent a warning back to Earth Command. A short message. "The treaty is fake. Pull everyone out now." But she knew it was already too late. The Grinning Skull disappeared from station records the next day. The aliens thought it had left. They were wrong. Rina had hidden her ship inside the debris field nearby. Silent. Waiting. Watching. A ghost in the dark. Back on the station, the final peace ceremony was planned for the next morning. All human ships would dock. All humans would attend. One place. One moment. The perfect time for something terrible to happen. Rina stood on her dark bridge, staring at the glowing station through her ship's window. Her crew stood beside her, armed and ready. "They think they've won," she said quietly. Nils nodded. "They don't know we're still here." Rina looked at her ship's eye. "Wake the guns. Prep stealth mode. Keep us dark." "Orders confirmed," the eye replied. Outside, the Shalkari continued smiling. Inside, the trap was almost ready. But so was the Grinning Skull. One of the Shalkari guards, a young warrior named Dek, moved through the station's lower decks. He was not important, just another guard in silver armor. But Dek had sharp eyes and sharper ears. That day, he heard something strange. He passed by a closed door where two high-ranking officers were speaking. He slowed down, pretending to check his wrist console. "Operation Hollow Sun begins tomorrow," one voice said. "After the ceremony, we shut everything down." "What about the human soldiers?" asked the second voice. "They'll be trapped like the rest. No one leaves." Dek's hand tightened on his console. He looked both ways, then walked away quickly, pretending he hadn't heard anything. But inside, he was shaking. He had believed the treaty was real. His younger brother had even said, "Maybe we can visit Earth one day." Now he knew the truth. This wasn't peace. It was a plan for murder. Dek tried to report the conversation to his captain, but as soon as he opened his mouth, the room fell silent. The captain looked at him with cold, empty eyes. "You must be mistaken," he said. "Forget what you heard. Go back to your post." That night, Dek disappeared. Captain Rena Vale didn't know about Dek, but she saw the signs. Her crew, dressed as traders, was now moving through more secure areas. Jex, her second-in-command, had found a hallway filled with armored suits, human-shaped targets next to them. And near the power core, Engineer Lena discovered a strange machine. It looked like a power disruptor, big enough to shut down all human ships docked at once. "They're going to cut our power," she said, back aboard the Grinning Skull. "Then strike." Rena nodded. "We need proof. We need to show Earth." Nils, still working in the Skull's small command room, leaned back in his chair and sighed. "I dug deeper. There's more in the system, hidden layers, something called a red list. It's a file of human names. Every ambassador, every officer, even the ship crews, all marked neutralize." Jex clenched his fists. "They're going to kill them all." Rena didn't speak right away. She stared at the data, her jaw tight. "Then we stop them." "How?" Lena asked. "We're one ship. They have a whole station." Rena turned toward her. "We're not going to save everyone by running. We're going to flip the trap. Make them regret ever inviting us here." The next step was dangerous. The crew had to split up. Jex and Lena returned to the station with tiny jammers to plant near the drone base. They pretended to be fixing broken vending units. Nils remained in the Skull, hacking into the main network little by little. And Rena, she put on an ambassador's uniform and walked straight into the ceremony hall. The grand hall was huge. Crystal walls, golden symbols, and flags of both Earth and Shalkari. Everyone clapped as Archlord Virak entered, tall and calm. His voice echoed through the room. "We welcome this day of peace. Let our enemies become allies, our weapons turn to trade." Rena stood in the back, unseen, her comlink open. Her voice was low. "I'm in. Virak's speech is just starting. Jex, how's your end?" "In position. Jammers are set." Lena, planting the last one now. 10 seconds. Nils spoke next. "I've got a window into their security feeds. I'm saving footage now. 30 minutes of them moving drones and placing mines." Rena smiled. "That's all we need." Suddenly, her comlink clicked. A new voice broke in. Static at first, then words. "You don't belong here. Skull Captain." Rena froze. Virak's voice continued in the hall, but she stopped listening. She turned and walked out fast, heading back toward the shuttle dock. Nils called out, "They're tracing us." They found one of the jammers. "Get ready to pull back," she ordered. Now, Jex and Lena started moving, but Shalkari guards had already closed 2 hallways. Lena ducked behind a vent panel, barely escaping sight. Jex wasn't as lucky. He had to fight. 3 guards spotted him. He dropped his tool bag and pulled out a pulse pistol. 2 shots, 2 down. The third ran for help. Jex yelled, They know. They're hunting us. Back on the Grinning Skull, the engines were already warming up. The stealth cloak stayed on, keeping the ship hidden in the debris field. But alarms were blinking across Nil's screen. They're sending drones. They think we're still on the station. Reyna jumped into the pilot's seat as her crew scrambled back. Jex came in bleeding but alive. Lena followed moments later, breathless. "They've locked the dock," she said. "We barely made it." Reyna gave the order. "Seal the ship, jam their comms. Prepare to vanish." The Grinning Skull went dark. No lights, no signals. It became space dust once more. But the station was alive with movement. Guards searched everywhere. Alerts echoed in alien language, and at the center, Virak stood still, watching a small black ship disappear from his screens. "She knows," he whispered. "Let her run. It won't help." He smiled. Tomorrow was the ceremony, and the trap would be ready. The peace station locked down at exactly 700 hours. A soft chime echoed through the halls, followed by a calm voice. "All visitors, please remain in your assigned areas. Today's ceremony begins soon." The human diplomats didn't worry. They were used to alien rules, to strange voices and restricted zones. Most of them smiled and dressed in clean uniforms, excited for the historic event. None of them noticed that the docking clamps on their ships had changed, now locked tighter. Power to their ships was dropping, system by system. But there were no alerts, no red warnings. It was quiet, controlled. All human ships, except one. The Grinning Skull stayed dark and hidden in the debris field. Its stealth tech was old but good. No one on the station knew it was still nearby. Inside, Captain Rena Vale stood over the holotable, watching a 3D model of the station. Red dots showed shell-carry patrols. Blue dots marked her crew's secret exit paths. A yellow circle pulsed over the main hall, the trap zone. "They're locking it down now," Nil said, tapping on the console. "Human ships are offline. Engines cut. No comms allowed. It's all in the system." Jex crossed his arms. "We should have warned them louder." Reyna shook her head. Earth Command didn't believe us the first time. They thought we were just paranoid pirates. Lena added quietly, "They won't think that after today." The crew gathered, checking weapons and gear. Each person knew what they had to do. The goal wasn't to fight head-on. Not yet. It was to survive, gather full proof, and expose the truth before it was too late. Back on the station, Ambassador Kai Ellen stood in front of a wide window, admiring the stars. He had just reviewed his speech, one full of hope, promises, and dreams of peace. He smiled, thinking, "This is what humanity needs. A new beginning." Then the lights in the hall flickered. Just once. Quickly. He frowned. That wasn't supposed to happen. Across the station, a shell-carry commander received a private message. It read, "Phase 1. Complete. Begin Phase 2. Neutralize." He turned to his team. "Activate interior dampeners. Seal Sector 4. Begin quiet extraction." Alien soldiers began moving through hidden doors and service shafts. They carried weapons designed to disable quickly and quietly. They wore black armor with no rank, no symbols. They weren't peacekeepers. They were hunters. At that moment, deep inside the Grinning Skull, Nils leaned forward. "I got something." A live transmission between their commanders. "They're moving now. Codename, Ash Silence." "What's it mean?" Jex asked. "It means they're taking out the humans, one by one, without alarms." Reyna stepped forward. "Not if we strike first." She gave the order. "Drop stealth. Power up. Set a course for breach point Delta." Outside, the black outline of the Grinning Skull shimmered into view for the first time in hours. Its engines lit up, weapons armed. Inside the station, the shell-carry scrambled. One guard yelled, "Unknown ship approaching." "But it's already here." Rena's voice rang through the station's comms, loud. angry. "This is Captain Rena Vale of the Grinning Skull. You lied. You smiled and shook hands while loading your guns. We saw it all." Ambassador Elin turned in shock. "Is this part of the event?" Rena continued. "You locked down our people. You turned off their ships. You planned their deaths. Now everyone knows. You want war. You get it." Then the skull fired. One blast, not at the station, but at a drone bay. A massive explosion followed. Fire and smoke poured from the side of the station. Inside, alarms finally screamed. Virak stood in his private chamber, watching it all unfold. He didn't panic. He smiled. "She makes her move early," he said. "Let's see if she survives it." In the chaos, human officers tried to reach their ships, but the docks were sealed. Several were already missing, taken. Some guards opened fire. Screams echoed, but not all humans were helpless. Ambassador security teams, trained veterans, quickly armed themselves with hidden weapons. They formed squads, secured rooms, and began protecting civilians. The trap had been triggered early, but that also saved lives. Back aboard the Skull, Lena shouted. "Breach pod launched. Our team's inside." One of their teams had entered the station through a side port, blowing open an old maintenance door. Smoke filled the halls. Confusion spread fast. The station had never faced a human response like this. Rena watched the chaos unfold on screen. "Let them see what we are," she said. Jex replied, grinning. "They thought we were prey." Rena's eyes narrowed. "We are the hunters now." The peace station was no longer quiet. Fire alarms screamed through the halls. Smoke rolled from broken ceilings. Emergency lights blinked red, flashing like heartbeat warnings. The perfect, clean image of peace was shattered. Shalkari guards rushed through the corridors, weapons ready. But they weren't chasing pirates. They were being hunted. In the shadows of the station, someone, or something, was taking them down. One guard entered Cargo Bay 9. It was silent and full of crates. Human goods were stacked high. Clothing, tools, food boxes. The guard moved slowly, scanning for intruders. His radio crackled, then went dead. Suddenly, heat bloomed on his armor sensors. He turned, saw a dark shape. And then nothing. The Grinning Skull crew was inside. Not as diplomats, not as traitors, but as ghosts. Captain Rena Vale led them through the lower decks. Her team moved fast, using smoke, shadows, and confusion. Jex covered the rear. Lena placed magnetic charges on fuel lines and power nodes. Nils hacked control doors, opening safe paths and closing deadly ones. The Shalkari had planned for a human surrender, not a fight. They didn't expect resistance. They didn't expect the Grinning Skull. Back on the ship, orbiting close to the station, the Skull's AI tracked every move. Main reactor map updated. 90 seconds until breach team reaches core junction. Inside, Rena and her team reached a large maintenance tunnel. Lights flickered above, casting long shadows. From behind a panel, Nils pulled out a small case. Inside were explosives. "Just enough to give the station a very bad headache," he said. "Place them fast," Rena ordered. And silent. As Lena placed the charges, they heard voices approaching, alien voices, loud and sharp. Jex aimed his weapon. "We've got company." Rena raised her hand. No shots. Not yet. Instead, she dropped a small black sphere on the floor. A moment later, thick smoke poured out, filling the tunnel. The aliens walked right into it, and never saw the humans slip past them like shadows. By the time the Shalkari cleared the smoke, the humans were gone. So were 3 of their guards. Elsewhere, in the upper tower, Arch-Lord Virak stood at a wide table, watching holograms of the chaos. His commanders reported in, one after another. Dock 3 is lost. Human diplomats escaped and armed themselves. Deck 12, breached. Unknown explosives found. Peace ceremony canceled. Evacuation has begun. Virak remained calm. Let them run. Let them scream. It changes nothing. Lock the power core. Prepare for Phase 3. But it wasn't that simple anymore. The trap was no longer working. Now it was breaking. In the control hub, Nils plugged into a local terminal. He typed fast, eyes moving across lines of alien code. His voice came through the comms. I've got their internal map. Rena, the main AI core is exposed. No armor, just locks. Can we get in? Rena asked. Yes, but we'll have to cut our way out. Then let's cut deep. The team split again. Jex and Lena moved toward the drone control room. Rena and Nils made for the AI core. Along the way, Rena passed through a hall lined with Valkyrie banners. Their symbols showed peace, circles, and light. It was a lie, painted on metal. She ripped one down as she walked. Behind her, Nils smiled. That's going to upset someone. I hope it does. In Drone Bay 7, Jex placed EMP charges on the walls. Once these go off, they lose half their eyes and ears. Lena nodded. And when the reactors blow, they'll be blind and deaf. In the AI core chamber, Rena found the main server, a massive glowing brain built into the wall. She pulled out a data drive and looked at Nils. Time to tell the galaxy the truth. He inserted the drive and began uploading the stolen footage. Security feeds of alien soldiers planting mines, images of human diplomats locked in rooms, the hidden files marked neutralize and hollow sun. This was proof. Real proof. Not just a warning. A message. Suddenly, alarms flared again. The AI had detected the hack. Time's up, Nils said. We're on every screen now. Good, Rena said. She opened the comms and spoke directly into the station's broadcast system. This is Captain Rena Vale. The Valkyrie lied to us. They offered peace and built a trap. But they forgot something. We don't break. We burn. The message repeated across the entire station. Every room. Every hallway. Every enemy heard it. On Earth, a deep space relay picked up the transmission. Officers read the data. Leaders watched the footage. And far across the stars, human fleets began to move. Back on the station, the Grinning Skull crew prepared to escape. The countdown on the charges ticked down. 5, 4, 3. Rena gave the order. Fall back. The Skull's engines flared. The crew launched themselves back through the breached tunnel, escaping as explosions rocked the station. Smoke and fire poured into space. The Grinning Skull vanished into the black once again, silent, invisible, alive. Inside the burning station, the Valkyrie were left with fear. Their trap had failed. And the Skull had only just begun. 2 seconds. The Grinning Skull drifted through deep space, its cloak active, engines low. Inside, the crew was quiet, tired, but alive. Smoke still clung to their uniforms. Scratches, burns, and bruises marked their skin. But no one complained. They had survived the trap. Captain Rena Vale stood at the front console, eyes locked on a live screen. The footage from the Valkyrie station was now spreading across the galactic net. Dozens of human news feeds had picked it up. Diplomats were talking. Commanders were listening. And Earth had finally responded. Fleet Command had sent a short message to the Skull. Footage confirmed. Operation Firewake authorized. Return with all data. Do not engage further. Avoid capture. Rena leaned back in her chair. Too late for that last part. Jex, cleaning his pistol nearby, looked up. They're already hunting us, aren't they? Nils answered first. Yes. At least 5 Valkyrie ships left the station after us. One has stealth tech. Lena added, they'll want to erase the proof. If they catch us, they'll rip out everything. Rena didn't flinch. Then we don't get caught. She walked to the center table, where a rotating 3D map of nearby systems glowed. There's a refueling moon in this sector. Quiet. No patrols. We land, repair, and then hit the long jump relay. Jex raised an eyebrow. And if the Shalkari find us there? Reyna didn't hesitate. Then we give them a second taste. The ship changed course. Engines roared. The Skull dove into a cloud of black dust, hiding its trail. But far behind, in the cold space between stars, a small ship followed. Its hull was matte black. No lights, no signals. Inside sat a single pilot, Shalkari elite, trained in assassination and silence. His orders were simple: destroy the Skull. On the Skull, hours passed. The crew patched up systems. Lena repaired the hull breach. Jex checked weapons. Twice. Nils scanned for signals and threats, but the feeling on the ship was heavy. They had struck first. Now the enemy was coming. At last, the Skull reached the moon. A dead, rocky place with no atmosphere. But it had a station buried in the stone, an old human outpost from years ago. Reyna landed carefully, engines off, lights down. The Skull disappeared into shadow. Inside the base, the crew worked quickly. Lena connected the Skull to old power lines. Jex placed motion sensors around the rocky hills. Nils linked into the base's relay to send more files to Earth. But Reyna stood alone on the ridge above, watching the stars. She didn't like silence. She didn't trust it. That's when her earpiece clicked. "Captain," Nils said, "you need to see this." She rushed back inside. On the screen was a single red dot, blinking fast. A ship. Close. Too close. "It's right behind us," Nils said. Same signal pattern as the Shalkari stealth class. Jex grabbed his rifle. They followed us. Lena shouted from across the hall, "Power cells only 40% charge. We can't jump yet." Reyna turned to them all. "Then we fight again. But not like last time." She leaned over the table. "This time, we trap them." The crew moved fast. Lena rewired old turrets buried in the outpost walls. Jex loaded mines into the outer path. Nils shut down the Skull's systems, faking a full power loss. Minutes later, the enemy arrived. The black Shalkari ship landed without sound. No lights, no dust cloud. It simply appeared, ghost-like, near the ridge. A lone figure stepped out. He walked with purpose, scanning with a handheld device. He found no signals, no guards, no movement. He entered the outpost slowly. Silence. Then a voice echoed from the shadows. "Welcome to our trap." The figure spun, weapon raised, but too late. A charge blew from under the floor. Smoke filled the hallway. Jex dropped down behind him, striking fast. A fight broke out in the dark, fists, blades, and blood. But this wasn't a normal soldier. He was fast, skilled, almost inhuman. He threw Jex against a wall, kicked Lena's weapon from her hand, and nearly reached the Skull's data core. Nearly. Then Reyna stepped into the light, face bloody, gun steady. "I warned you," she said. She fired. One shot, straight through the chest. The Shalkari assassin fell. Dead silence returned. The crew stood, breathing hard, looking down at the body. "He was alone," Lena said. Reyna stared at the body. "No, he was the first." Jex looked up. "You think they'll send more?" Reyna nodded. "They know we're not just survivors now. We're a threat." The Skull powered up again. Its engines hummed. The crew returned to their stations. Jex wounded but ready. Lena tired but strong. Nils still scanning. And Reyna? She looked at the stars ahead. Earth was waiting. But so was war. The grinning Skull cut through space like a silent blade. The engines burned low, hidden behind scattered asteroids. Earth's long jump relay was just hours away, but every second felt heavier. Captain Reyna Vale stared at the screens. Her jaw was tight. Her fingers tapped the console, slow and steady. She didn't speak, not yet. She was thinking, planning. They had exposed the Shalkery's lies. They had survived the trap. But it wasn't over, not even close. Any signs of more ships? She asked. Nils shook his head. Nothing on scans. But it's quiet. Too quiet. Jex leaned against the wall, arm in a sling from the last fight. They're not chasing anymore. They're waiting. Waiting for what? Lena asked. Nils answered with a whisper. For us to run out of luck. That's when the first message came through. It wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from any known channel. It was from Virac. A Shalkeri transmission played across the main screen. A tall figure appeared in smoke. His voice was calm, cold. Captain Renavale, you survived my peace offering. Impressive. But understand this. The galaxy doesn't want truth. It wants order. And you broke it. Reyna stood up slowly. Virac continued. You can still end this. Return the data. Power down your ship. Neil and your crew will live. The message ended. Silence followed. Then Jex snorted. Is that the part where we say, yes, please, take everything. And maybe don't kill us? Lena rolled her eyes. He's afraid. That's why he's talking. Reyna turned toward the others. He wants us to surrender because he knows we won't. That's the problem. He thinks we'll keep running. She stepped closer to the console. He doesn't know what we're carrying. Nils raised an eyebrow. The data. No, Reyna said. The virus. Everyone turned. The virus was real. A small, silent program. It wasn't meant to hurt people. It was built to destroy networks. Code bombs, logic traps, erasers of entire databases. The Shalkeri had built this virus years ago, but the Skull had stolen a copy during a Black Ops mission. Now it was their last option. If they try to take us, Reyna said, we let it loose in their core systems. We won't be able to stop it after. But neither will they. Lena looked uneasy. We'd cripple their empire. Maybe even crash their fleets. Jex shrugged. They wanted war. Nils hesitated. But Earth Command said. Reyna cut him off. Earth Command is 2 jumps away. We are here. Alone. And they're coming. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what was at stake. Their lives. Their planet. The galaxy's future. Suddenly, a red alert flashed on screen. Nils yelled, incoming. Warp signatures. 5, no, 6 ships. Lena cursed. They found us. Reyna gave one order. Brace for combat. The grinning skull spun hard, shields raised. Missiles fired from behind the asteroid field. The ship dodged 2, took the 3rd. The hull shook, metal screeching. Jex fired back. Twin plasma cannons lit up the stars. One enemy ship veered off, smoking. Lena rerouted power to shields. We won't last long like this. We don't have to, Reyna said. Just long enough. She turned to Nils. Is the relay in range? Almost 30 seconds. Good. Prepare to jump and upload the virus. Everyone froze. Lena whispered, are you sure? Reyna stared at the screen. 6 ships now surrounded them. The Skull was outgunned, outnumbered, almost out of time. Yes. Let's burn their mask off. Nils uploaded the virus into a Shalkeri comm stream. The moment it connected, the enemy ships began to stutter. Signals cut, weapons jammed. One of the ships spun wildly, crashing into another. Sparks exploded across the stars. Reyna gave the final order. Jump now. The Skull surged forward. Light bent. Space twisted. And they vanished. Silence returned to the battlefield. Behind them, the virus spread like fire. Across every Shalkeri fleet node, through command channels, into black vaults. Systems failed. Lights died. Warships turned dark. In a matter of minutes, an empire staggered. Far ahead, in clean space, The grinning skull reappeared. Safe, for now. The crew sat quietly, breathing hard. Reyna looked at them all. "We didn't just survive," she said. "We lit the fuse." Jex gave a tired grin. "So what now?" Reyna smiled grimly. "Now, we watch them burn." And in the dark, broken corners of the galaxy, the Shalkari began to feel fear for the first time. The grinning skull floated in high orbit above Earth. Its hull was cracked. Black scorch marks covered its side. The engines were still hot from the last jump. Inside the ship, everything felt quiet, but not peaceful. Not yet. Captain Rena Vale stood at the main window, looking down at her homeworld. It had never looked more distant. The crew gathered in the command deck. Jex had a fresh scar on his cheek. Lena still limped from her last fall. Nils had dark circles under his eyes after 3 days with no sleep. They had fought, survived, and delivered the truth. Now it was time to see what Earth would do with it. "Transmission from Earth Command," Nils said. "They want to speak to you directly." Rena nodded. "Put it through." A screen lit up. A stern-faced admiral appeared. Behind him were Earth's Defense Council and intelligence chiefs. All eyes were sharp. Serious. "Captain Vale," the admiral began. "Your crew exposed a galactic betrayal. You ignited a war. And you brought us proof that the peace we trusted was fake." Rena didn't blink. "We brought you the truth. What you do with it is your choice." The admiral leaned forward. "The virus you uploaded, it crippled half the Shalkari fleet." "That was the idea," Jex muttered under his breath. The admiral continued. "Their leaders are demanding an explanation. They say we attacked first. They deny the trap, the planned betrayal, everything." Rena stepped closer to the screen. "Then show them the footage. The locked rooms. The body of the assassin. The broken treaty they signed with lies." The admiral paused, then gave a slow nod. "Already done," he said. "Earth stands with you." The crew relaxed just slightly. The admiral continued. "You and your crew are to report to Earth Command. You'll be debriefed, cleared, and honored." Lena raised an eyebrow. "Honored? You may have started a war," the admiral said, "but you also saved millions of lives." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge for a long moment. Then Jex let out a slow breath. "So, we're not fugitives anymore." Nils grinned. "We're heroes." Lena smirked. "Weird. Doesn't feel like it." Rena just smiled. "We didn't do this for medals." Outside, in the blackness beyond Earth, new signals were lighting up. Human fleets were on the move. Defense stations powered up. Battle carriers launched. The galaxy had changed. The Shalkari sent more messages, some full of threats, others begging for talks. But their mask was gone. Their secret war failed before it began. The name Grinning Skull was now spoken across 100 systems. Some feared it. Others respected it. All remembered it. A few days later, the crew stood on a landing platform on Earth. The wind was clean. The sky was wide and blue. Soldiers saluted as Rena walked past. She didn't stop to enjoy it. Not yet. Inside the base, Earth's leaders waited. Reporters tried to get close, shouting questions. What did the Shalkari want? Is war coming? What happens next? Rena answered just one thing. They thought it was a deal, but it was a death trap. And then she walked past them all. Later that night, the crew sat around a fire on a quiet hill outside the city. No cameras, no uniforms, just the stars above them. Jex passed around drinks. Lena stared up at the night sky. Nils fiddled with a small device, half listening to the news feeds in the background. "They're calling us legends now," he said. "Some folks say we should run for council." Jex laughed. "Me? A politician? I'd rather face 10 assassins." Lena smiled softly. "Still think we'll get another mission." Rena leaned back, her face lit by firelight. "We already have one," she said. "The galaxy is watching. Others will rise after this. The Shalkari won't be the last." The wind picked up slightly. Far above, in orbit, the grinning skull waited, silent, still, but ready. Rena whispered, almost to herself, "There are more traps out there, more liars in fancy robes, more empires hiding knives behind smiles." Jex raised his cup. "Then let's be the fire that burns them down." They all drank to that. And so, the legend of the grinning skull grew. Not just a ship, not just a crew, but a warning to anyone, anywhere, who thought humanity would kneel forever.